Hey y'all, TRG here and welcome back to another video. In this video, we'll be talking about a historic blast of cold air that will impact much of the United States, bringing negative temperatures all the way as far south as southern Missouri. We will also talk about the pattern that could result in a snowstorm impacting the southern United States. Let's go right on into today's video. We'll begin here with your GFS precipitation type. This is the 12Z model run, and our first storm is going to be impacting the northeastern United States here on Saturday, January 18th. You can see we're probably going to see some moderate to heavy snowfall. The main areas that will see snow out of the system will be lake effect areas in western and northern Michigan, as well as lake effect areas in portions of northeastern Ohio into northwestern New York. 18th somewhere in the northeastern United States. It is definitely a question mark if we're going to be able to see a potent snow threat, for instance, like what this GFS model run says out there in, say, Virginia and Delaware and New Jersey. I would not put too much stock into that, as it is just a deterministic model run, which means it's going to change. So wouldn't be too confident in seeing snow there on the 19th in eastern Virginia, but we will at least get some lake effect snowfall back out there in Michigan. And our primary winter storm threat is going to be here on January 20th, beginning on the 20th in portions of Oklahoma, Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, maybe even into Mississippi. Now, it is very important to note this could shift a little bit north, it could shift a little bit south, it could lose some of its intensity. So we're just going to want to watch the model runs very closely and see how much models agree with this scenario here occurring. So the GFS model run continues heavy snowfall here into the morning hours of Tuesday, January 21st, progresses it into the southeastern United States, where it then moves into the mid-Atlantic area and has a actual major snowstorm here on the 22nd of January. Again, it is important to note that this is going to change, but we actually have a lot of ensembles and global model runs agreeing that we will see at least a snowstorm somewhere in the southern or southeastern United States around the time frame of the 21st to the 23rd of January. Then for the rest of this model run, we get way too far out, and we don't want to go past about 240 hours out, because that's going into fantasy land. That last site was College DuPage. Now we're using Tropical Tidbits just to give you a different scenario here. This is your Canadian model run from today, and this is one that shows a lot less energy in the Gulf of Mexico available. So here it is on the 21st of January, and it's at the very far bottom of your screen. Right where my cursor is, there's a bit of ice forming here on the Canadian model run, and you can see we get some light snow here into the 22nd of January, maybe intermediate heavy snowfall in Louisiana and Texas and Arkansas. But then as we go into the 23rd and the 24th, this storm just loses its steam and its energy, and it ends up just being an ice storm for the southeastern United States on the 24th of January, as opposed to a major winter storm like the GFS showed. So just know these models are going to flip-flop every now and then, but we're still generally going to be looking at a snowstorm somewhere in this portion of the United States from the 21st to about the 23rd of January. Before we continue on with today's video, I ask that you guys hit that like button, share this video with your family, friends, social media, and if you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button with the notification bell set to all, so you know when I go live or upload a video. Let's go right back on into today's video. Now let's go ahead and dive on right into the main part of this video, and that's talking about the potential historic temperatures. But our biggest blast, the one that I'm most concerned about, is actually all the way out towards the 21st of January with that big winter storm potential. So you can actually see it here on the 18th of January. It is beginning to set up. You'll see this big blast, and you'll see your cold front setting up generally in that area as well, and that's what's going to help cause that massive blast of freezing cold air. You can see that low pressure setting up here, which is bringing in that cold air behind it. And you can see as we go towards the 19th and the 20th of January, it's going to just continue to intensify. And then by the time we get into the 21st of January, that is when it gets the most intense here. You can see negative temperatures potentially all the way down into Oklahoma, southern Missouri, maybe even into northern Kentucky, into Virginia, and much of the northeastern United States, and most of the central and north central United States here on Tuesday, January 21st. So very, very freezing temperatures, negative temperatures. And keep in mind, this is not including the wind chill. So these values could actually be into the negative 20s in terms of wind chill as we go towards the 21st of January. Here's the CPC's outlook for 6 to 10 days temperatures and precipitation. You can see pretty much the entirety of the United States, with the exception of Northern California, will be seeing below average temperatures. That dark blue area right in there is where they have an 80 to 90% chance of seeing well below average temperatures temperatures. And if we switch you guys on over here, you can see it on the right side of your screen. We actually have a very large area of below average temperatures. We won't see a lot of atmospheric rivers in the western to northwestern United States over the next week or so. That will contribute to a little bit of a drought trying to set in over portions of Oregon, Northern California, into Nevada. And we'll see that above average precipitation as we see those systems move through the north central U.S. And then, of course, we'll see above average precipitation in the southeastern U.S., where we could see a snowstorm impact the U.S. around the 21st to the 23rd of January. Going on into your temperatures, this is where it gets really interesting. They've actually introduced a very large high risk for actually hazardous temperatures here in much of the southeastern United States. So if we are going to see historic temperatures out of this, it will probably be somewhere in this high risk area where they don't normally see, potentially negative temperatures and most likely negative wind chills in this region towards the 21st and 22nd of January. So probably going to get historic cold temperatures out there in the southeast for the 21st and 22nd of January. I do want to go a little bit more in depth here. This is the GFS 12Z 500 millibar wind speeds. And of course, this is our first big blast here. You'll see this very large positively tilted trough ejection. That's the big key factor right there, is it's positively tilted. That won't allow for much of winter precipitation to pull along with it as we go into the 15th and 16th of January. Now, as it goes towards a bit of a negative tilt here, that could help increase some lake effect snowfall in Michigan and the northeastern United States, like we talked about at the beginning of this video. But generally, we're not going to have much of a winter storm threat with that. But again, could still see some lake effect snowfall out of it. Then towards the 18th of January, you'll see that next system pulling into the southern United States. That will probably do the same. It is a bit more negatively tilted. You can see it right here. It is slightly more negatively tilted. That could allow for some extra snowfall in portions of like Indiana and Ohio, but there's not a lot of confidence in that actually being a winter storm, maybe just some dustings. We'll keep an eye on that just in case it does uptrend, but generally not looking at a winter storm with that threat either. And then finally here, as we get towards the 19th, you'll see this massive, huge, elongated trough ejection, really three of them. You got a bowling ball trough here, just above my face cam. You've got a trough ejection extended from the Pacific Northwest down to the southeastern United States, and then you got another trough ejection extended from North Dakota into Canada, down towards North Carolina into the New England states. So you really have three troughs in this area, and that's what's going to lead towards this being a very uncertain system. So we're going to have a lot of changes with these model runs, but as we get towards the 21st and the 22nd of January, there is medium to potentially even high confidence in at least a winter storm threat. But as we get towards the 20th, 21st of January, you'll see that trough ejection begins to turn positively tilted out here in the southwestern United States, and we just have this large elongated flow here in the southern US. And it's going to be this elongated jet stream right here where we'll probably see a low pressure form somewhere in that area that I've circled. Mix that in with the Gulf of Mexico's moisture, and we have a recipe for a snowstorm threat in the southern United States yet again. So I do believe we'll see a snowstorm somewhere in that area I've circled there in the southeastern United States between around, like I said, 21st to the 23rd of January. But again, there is going to be a lot of uncertainty thanks to just how large this trough is. But you can see that trough ejection does eject right into that area where I have circled. So at least we are fairly confident in a winter storm threat. In terms of exact impacts and where it will be exactly, of course, we're a little bit too far out from that. Now, I did have a few comments talking about the potential for a severe weather setup with this system, and this is your CFS version 2 daily sum of supercell composite using the GFS ensembles. We'll have some small supercell composite here on the 16th and 17th of January, and we might get something a little bit more notable towards the end of January when we'll see that warm-up occur. Again, right after our low pressure leaves the U.S. towards the 24th, it will bring in a bit of cool air, but right behind that cool air, probably around the 25th of January, we'll see warm air enter the U.S., and if we get a trough interacting with that warm air where we see warm and cool air mix, we'll see the threat for severe weather. So I don't think we'll see any severe weather from now all the way until the 23rd or 4th of January. It will be after this winter storm threat where we see the opportunity for severe weather occur in the United States, but that is just way, way too far out. So yes, I'm monitoring for the threat of severe weather towards the end of January. Am I concerned about it? Definitely not. Way too far out to be concerned about it at this point, but we will monitor it, and I'll keep you guys posted on it just in case it does become a more notable threat. Now, what's after this winter storm potential, like I just mentioned, we'll probably end up with the opportunity for severe weather somewhere in the southern United States from probably the latter half and end of January. But generally, we're still looking at a large area of below average temperatures with above average precipitation in the southern U.S. So we should see another opportunity for a snowstorm towards the end of January. And that snowstorm potential, depending on exactly where it will be, may bring the risk for severe weather as well. And you can see here from the composite, and then towards the January 25th through February 7th timeframe, you'll see we're probably going to begin a little bit more of a normal pattern in terms of temperatures. Most of the United States will most likely return to those equal chances, meaning around an average start to February in terms of temperatures, but we'll still see an above average risk for heavy precipitation in the southeastern United States. So still going to have some snowstorm opportunities, most likely here in the kind of eastern central United States as well as we go towards the end of January and beginning of February. So definitely looking at a very active weather pattern, definitely a lot of moving parts and uncertainty with it. But generally, we're looking at a winter storm threat from the 21st to the 23rd of January, a severe weather threat around the 25th, and then probably another winter storm around that time frame of January 25th, if not towards the end of January, where we will then see a little bit of a warm up and probably go right back into a winter storm threat in early February. So definitely looking at a very active weather pattern setting up for this winter. Thank you guys for watching today's video. I greatly appreciate it. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share the channel on your way out. It's greatly appreciated. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day and or night, and I'll see you guys in the next live stream or video that I do. Stay safe and watch the snowfall. Goodbye.